Yay!
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm sorry, I've never done an Instagram live before,
No,
actually.
I.
So I was struggling to figure out how to join.
That's okay. It's so great seeing you.
Yeah, so good seeing you.
I loved hanging out with you at the NCAA volleyball championship last
I
week.
know, we had so much fun.
Congratulations on all of your success, and thank you so much for joining the third episode of my second season of Walking and Talking. I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course, thanks for having me, Laney.
So, before we get started, I want to thank Lululemon for their support of not only this show, but for all female student athletes from around the country. So now let's get to our special guest. Alexa Hendricks is a recent volleyball alum from Louisville and is now a full-time content creator, living the dream. I'm so excited to visit with you and learn more about you.
Yes, I'm so excited to get into it.
Okay, my first question is always the same though. Can you talk us through your outfit of the day?
Okay, I knew this one was coming, but I'm not wearing anything special, just a big sweatshirt and some aloe leggings. I've been traveling for the past week and a half, so I'm struggling with clean clothes here.
Yeah, definitely. I get that. Okay, so I'm wearing, let me move this chair. Swiftly Tech long sleeve, and then my Lululemon Align high rise 23-inch leggings. And I'm wearing the Charge Feel Lululemon shoes in natural ivory, and then this is Deep Luxe.
Love, so cute. How do you like the Lululemon shoes?
Oh my gosh, I love them. I feel like they're so supportive.
Yeah,
Like they're
I love their clothes, but I've actually never tried their shoes, so
I have two pairs right now, and I like both of them a lot. Like one pair is really light, and then these are like very supportive, I feel like.
okay, good to know. Good to know for future purchases.
Okay, so now let's learn a little bit more about you. What did you major in at Louisville?
So I majored in exercise science.
And did you enjoy Louisville?
I did. I loved Louisville. It was a great school, especially with the volleyball program. I wouldn't have wanted to go anywhere else.
So I've seen you talk about having to make the tough decision about taking your extra COVID year or starting your career. Now looking back on the last year, how much have you missed volleyball and how grateful are you to have gotten a head start on your career?
I definitely miss volleyball a lot. It was a hard transition out of it as well, but I do think back a lot, like, what if I did take my fifth year and how cool it could have been to go somewhere and, like, play for maybe, like, a smaller school. But I honestly didn't want to play anywhere but Louisville because I was just so happy there, and the way we went out, I knew there was no better way to. So I'm happy that I went out the way I did, and I know that everything happens for a reason. So I'm happy where I'm at, and New York and content creation is something I'm loving right now. So
So what's life like in New York?
it, it's very exciting. It's go, go, go all the time. When I first moved there, it was a big shock to me because in Kentucky, it's really slow, calm, a lot of nature. But then New York, it was kind of like a culture shock, honestly. There's so many people, car horns honking all the time. The subways are crazy. So it's very hectic, but now that I'm living there and getting used to it, I'm loving it. I'm loving the energy and all the opportunities and events that come with it. So
So did you know you were going to do content creation before moving to New York, or was that an after decision?
I honestly,
There, right?
what'd you say?
Because your sister's living there, right?
Yes, she is. She moved there. Well, we moved there together, but um, I did decide to do content creation prior to moving to New York, but I didn't know that I was going to do content creation full time until about February of this past year. So about a month and a half into post volleyball life.
So I mentioned that we caught up last week at the NCAA volleyball championship. Can you share what you were doing there and what it meant to be back around volleyball?
Yeah, so I went to Tampa. They had a volleyball tournament prior this, when was it? In August, I think?
Yeah,
At the
road to
beginning. Yes, in the beginning of the volleyball season. And so I went with NCAA, and made content there. And that was so nice being back in the volleyball world. And then I think they liked my work, so AVCA actually invited me back to make more content for the national championship, which actually I wanted to go anyways in hopes of Louisville being there in the Final Four as well, but I probably would have went anyways. So it was awesome to be invited back and be there kind of with a purpose to make content. So,
How do you like Tampa?
oh my gosh, I love it. Me and my parents were actually just talking about this morning how much stuff there is to do there, and we just didn't have enough time to
Yeah,
explore and see everything that there
I
was.
know. I grew up here, so I love it. So maybe trying to convince you to come down.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be back.
Okay, good. So now let's talk about your career. What are some of the brand deals that you've done so far?
Okay, what have I done recently?
Or your
My
favorites?
favorites. That's a good question. Um, why am I like blanking right now? What have I done recently? Oh, okay. My favorite, all-time favorite, just because one, it was honestly one of my first bigger deals that I got. And I actually just like re-signed with them this year, which was really exciting for me, is a Coach. So I'm sure if you follow me, you have seen me post with Coach a ton and TikToks, Instagram stories, all that. That was one of my first big brand deals that I got when I was a college athlete. And so to continue that relationship with them post athletics is really exciting.
Oh, that's so awesome. I remember seeing your video that you had created with it, and it was all over TikTok, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, we ended up doing and like an ad together basically. It was, yeah, it was quite the experience.
That's awesome.
So I'm very grateful for them and their team.
So I know NIL was around for your last year or two in college, but do you wish you could have been doing it the whole time?
I do. I feel like you can always look back and say, I've said it multiple times to like my friends or family, that I wish I started earlier and that NIL was a thing when I started college. But I think having 2 years under my belt was great for me, and I'm happy with that. And I feel like it's always easier to say, I wish I would have started sooner. I wish I would have done this or that looking back. But in the end, it was what it was. And I'm happy with the 2 years I got, because a lot of athletes didn't get it at all.
Yeah, so in terms of social media, you now have over 130,000 followers on Instagram and nearly 400,000 on TikTok. Did you ever think you would get that big and have that many followers when you first started?
Honestly, no. I just kind of posted for fun on TikTok and stuff. When I was younger, I always loved taking pictures and being behind the camera, but I didn't really imagine how to do it as like a full-time thing. I always like looked up to influencers like, oh, I wish I could do that. And before NIL, I was like, there's no point to try because it's literally illegal for us
Yeah.
to do that. So once NIL became a thing, I was like, well, why not just like post for fun on TikTok and stuff? And I had dreams of it, but I never like imagined it being able to do it as my full-time job, honestly, which I'm so grateful to be able to say that and do that.
So when I was with you in Tampa, it seemed like a lot of people were stopping you every few seconds to take pictures. How have you enjoyed interacting with fans and followers?
I, I love it. I loved being back in the volleyball world and seeing the people who supported me from the beginning and has helped me get to this point in my life. So seeing all the little girls or moms or boys or whoever, it was all types of people, but seeing all the people that support and love me and being able to meet them just meant the world to me, honestly. I loved it.
Oh, it was so cute. So social media can also bring some negatives, like people um, commenting terrible things. So how do you deal with that when where it doesn't become like a drain to you?
Right. I feel like when I was younger, I did used to care a lot about how people perceived me. But now, like doing social media, you kind of have to have thick skin.
Yeah.
I Even my most recent videos have gotten like quite a bit of hate for reasons I don't know, but I just kind of take it. If I do reply, it's kind of sarcastic. I
Yeah.
never take it seriously or too deep because at the end of the day, these people really don't know me.
Mhm.
And, the people that do love me and know who I truly am. So that's really all that matters to me.
I feel like a lot of that also comes with playing a sport. Like you learn to have that thick skin, learn to
Right.
a little better.
When your
So
coaches are ripping you in
yeah,
film, you
yeah.
just kind of have to take it. So
What social media platform do you use most?
I would say TikTok, definitely. TikTok was where I first started growing, really, and probably the one I enjoy the most, the one where I can be most creative on and stuff. So I would say TikTok and then Instagram second.
Do you have a favorite video or post that you've done so far? I know that's really hard because you post like 5 times a day, but
Right. I would say last time I was at my grandparents', I'm actually at my grandparents' right now again. My granddad broke a plate, like a charger plate, that's what they're called. And he was like horrified over it. It ended up blowing up and everybody loved it. And my granddad's just so naturally funny. The video is hilarious. You all have to check it out if you haven't seen it. But he was so worried that my grandma was going to find it and he was trying to convince me to take it to the trash. And that's probably one of my most recently favorites.
oh, I love that. I saw that one. I saw the one yesterday about you talking about how he brings a cup of coffee to his wife every single morning. That was so cute.
They're the cutest. They've been married for 60 plus years now and they were high school sweethearts. So they just have the cutest relationship.
Aww. So let's spin it a little. Let's talk about your personal legacy or brand. When people hear the name Alexa Hendricks, what do you want them to think of?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, Used to it was like being a good positive athlete, a good teammate, which I still want people to think that, but I mean, obviously I don't play volleyball anymore, so um, maybe just being a good family member, a good friend, someone kind and genuine. And I also love like fashion and beauty, the things that don't matter as much. Kind of if you want to come to my page for fashion or beauty, maybe that.
So I know you're close with your family and you now live together with your sister in New York. How supportive have they been of your journey so far?
My parents have honestly always been so supportive of me. And this recent trip to Tampa, I told them, I was like, I honestly would not be here if it wasn't for you all because they have given up so much for me in my volleyball career. We actually moved to Louisville. Me and my mom moved to Louisville so I could play at Assumption and Kiva. And I honestly feel like I wouldn't have been recruited to Louisville if I wasn't in
Wow.
that situation. My dad being at countless lessons and shagging balls for me, like things I'll always remember and be thankful that they got me to the point that I'm at. And I remember telling them, like, I want to do content creation full time. And my mom was like, I don't know about that. Like, kind of just being more realistic, being my mom, kind of pushing me to like go back to school and do something. And I was like, you know what? Like, I really want to see where this goes. And my mom was like, okay, like, go for it. And now, like, just recently, she was like, I'm glad that you did that. I'm glad for once that you didn't take my advice and you went for what you wanted to do. So they've always, whatever I've wanted, they've 100% backed me. So I'm very thankful for them.
That's so sweet. So, when did you first realize that social media would be a big part of your life?
Um, Honestly, probably when I started working with an agency in January, and I didn't know how it would go after volleyball, kind of. I knew I loved posting and making content, um, but I didn't know where it was going to go after volleyball because I built it all on volleyball. And then an agency reached out to me after our national championship game and asked if they wanted to represent me. And I was like, yeah, sure, of course, like, please. And once I started working with an agency, I was like, okay, like, I can do this full time. So it was probably around end of January, beginning of February when I realized that content creation for me was here to stay and something I wanted to continue pursuing and see where it went.
So, do you like having an agent?
I do. Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing before I had an agent. I undervaluing myself, and it's hard because you don't know anything. This isn't something that's taught. There's no course to content creation or any of this stuff. So I was just kind of trying to figure it out as I go. Um, but once I got an agent, it was really, she knew what she was doing. She had other creators, so it was really good to see someone who knew what they were doing, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know I do a lot of drafts that don't end up getting posted. How many do you think you do that don't get posted?
Oh my goodness. There's so many videos that I take that I plan on making TikToks that don't even make it to the drafts. So I'd probably say I have like 200 drafts that are just there, but I've tried to clean them out before just for storage reasons.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say about 200, and then hundreds of videos that don't even get edited that I plan to.
Right, in the notes app,
Right.
in the fave.
I
So
feel like once you start creating content, you probably can relate to this. It's like your brain kind of like flips a switch to thinking like, how do I make content out of everything?
yes,
Which can be good and bad at times.
exactly. Like I'll hear a sound and I'll be like, "Oh, this is trending. I need to make a TikTok out of this." And then like I'm like sitting there thinking of like what
For
could.
5 minutes, you're like, okay, how do I relate this to my life?
So what has been the biggest lesson that you learned in college?
With content creation or with volleyball? Wait, what'd you say you cut
Just
out?
in general.
Okay. Um, I would say honestly, being a good teammate is one of the most important things. Being a good teammate and being patient. There was times in college where I didn't play, I didn't have the playing time I wanted, but if you're giving back to your team and your teammates, then you're going to end up finding a way to help them in one way or another, whether it's the court or not. And just really being a good teammate, being someone genuine, someone who your teammates can rely on was something that was really important to me, I feel like.
Oh my gosh, I love that answer. I'm the same way. Every single time, like even if I'm not getting the playing time I want, I'm like, it's what's best for the team.
Right,
Like as long as it's succeeding, like I'm good. Like once
right.
that's
Now, I remember this past year, it was the Elite Eight game we were playing Oregon. I was not having my best game at all. Like I was not doing well. And my coach pulled me, and I was just like, in that moment, like, you just want what's best for the team. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing good. Put whoever you need in to take my spot so we can get to the next game. Like, that's
yeah.
all I wanted. I don't care if I'm not playing well. I want what's best for the team right now.
Yes, definitely. Oh my gosh, I love that. So when you're not working on content, where would we find you?
Hmm. Probably probably either the gym or hot yoga. I am truly a gym rat, like through and through with volleyball. I was always in the gym, always getting extra reps. But now that I don't really have that outlet, I feel like I'm in the gym a lot or doing like hot yoga or Pilates. I very much like to work out because I feel like being an athlete, it's just kind of ingrained in us.
Yeah, definitely. When was the last time you played volleyball?
Gosh, when was it? Um, The last time I played, it was when I was visiting my boyfriend at SMU. He plays basketball there, and we were in the gym, and I was like, "Can you serve some balls to me? Like, I miss playing volleyball. Like, I just want to touch it."
Yeah.
We like played volleyball for maybe like 10 or 15 minutes, but nothing serious really. I want to get into like a rec league or something down the road, but I'm just like traveling so much right now, and I don't have time to dedicate myself to something like that yet.
So what's one thing that most people don't know about you that you can share?
Ooh, one thing that most people don't know about me. Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. Um, Now I fell on the spot. I don't
No,
know.
we can move on if you
Okay, let
want.
me think about that and see if we can come back to
Wait,
it.
show me your nails. I want to
Oh, I
see.
just got them done.
They look so,
These are my nails.
yeah, I love them. They're so
My hands are like red right now because I wasn't prepared for how cold it was outside. So they're like numb. But they're cute.
I guess.
Do what?
70. You have to move back to
I
Tampa. It's 70.
know, right? Everybody was complaining about the weather there because it was like windy. And I was like, it's 70 here and I can actually be outside without being freezing. So I'm happy.
So I know you're busy, so I'll probably wrap up, but I want to hit you with my final 4 questions. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, give me your best unpopular opinion.
That blue raspberry, I don't like blue raspberry flavored things. Like everybody loves the blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers or like slushies.
Huh?
I think they're disgusting. That's my
What's
popular opinion.
what's your guilty pleasure song?
Ooh, maybe I love country music, really anything country. I'll put on any country playlist and be happy.
I love that. What's your favorite quote?
Favorite quote would be, this was a quote that got me through a lot of high school volleyball. Fake it till you make it. I had struggles being confident on the court, and a coach once told me you just have to fake it till you make it. Act like you're confident until you're truly confident. So that's a quote that has honestly stuck with me for a long time, and I still use it today when I'm walking into a place where I'm nervous. I'm just like, fake it till you make it.
I know on the court sometimes when I'm like shaky or like not confident, I'm like, just smile. Because like
Right.
nobody's gonna like think you're weak or anything when you're smiling.
Right. You can't look like the weak link. You gotta actually fake it.
So, Lululemon has their manifesto, which has so many great quotes in it. Before the show, I asked you to pick your favorite, and you said, get to know people who don't look like you, sound like you, or think like you. What about that Lululemon philosophy stands out to you?
I love that because I want to be someone who's always learning and pushing myself to be the best version of myself. So, getting to know people who aren't like you and don't look like you is going to push me outside of that. So, that's why that was my favorite quote.
Well, thank you so much for joining this week's Walking and Talking, empowered by Lululemon. It was so great chatting with you again.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Laney.
Of course. And I want to thank Lululemon again for empowering Walking and Talking. And as a small token of our appreciation for you coming on the show, Lululemon and I are sending you a $350 gift card to pick out any outfit of your choice.
Yeah, I will definitely be using that immediately.
Yay! So that's a wrap on the season's 3rd episode of Walking and Talking, empowered by Lululemon. Stay tuned for a recap reel in the next few days, as well as another guest in the next few weeks. I hope everyone has a great Christmas, and thank you so much again, Alexa. I really appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye.